Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark.
This is Pocketnow, and I'm Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? I'm coming to you from Zurich in Switzerland, where they are having the launch of the Oppo Reno. Now, I actually have a chance to check out the Oppo Reno for this morning, right before the event. So we're going to walk around the immediate area here in Zurich, maybe go downtown a little bit, take some photos, and let me see if I can do this kind of hands-on a little bit differently. I'll give you my thoughts as I'm using the phone during this morning. Speaking of which, I am including this clip in the general hands-on for Pocketnow, but I just wanted to say that all of the photos and videos that you're seeing in this hands-on are also being done in a real-world camera test over on my channel. So if you want to check out a video that is entirely made up of everything the Oppo Reno can do, you can head over to my channel, youtube.com/JoshuaVergara. Right off the bat, using this phone, well, we have a pretty high spec list. You get all of the good internals, including the Snapdragon 855, which I actually used in order to get a little bit of gaming done. Now, quick caveat, for this hands-on, what I'm actually using here is the Chinese software edition of the phone. So the operating system here is not going to be final software, nor is it even going to be one that many of you would actually end up using if you get this phone outside of Asia. With that said, though, ColorOS still looks pretty good, especially on this full HD Plus display. And the display itself, even if it has that slightly lower resolution than some flagships, it actually looks really awesome. I was able to play a couple of videos on here, checked out a little bit of YouTube using the web browser since I can't install YouTube, the actual app on this phone. But gaming has been a pretty fun experience on here already because it has those high specifications, it has a cooling system, and also has something called the game space where you can actually dump a lot of the memory and then overclock, or rather put the phone into a performance mode so you can get even better performance out of your games. A lot of what you might already like about Oppo phones returns here. There's a large battery in here, just a smidge over 4,000 milliamp hours, but then of course you have VOOC fast charging. It's now in version 3.0, and you can top up the phone pretty quickly whenever you need power. So if you're running out of juice, you could just plug this into the charger that comes with the phone, and you're able to get some power back real quick. I have to say, this is a pretty beautiful device. Glass-on-glass design, doesn't have a camera hump, but that does mean that the phone is a bit thicker than what you might expect. After all, you have the 3 cameras on the back, and depending on what version of the phone you end up getting, you can have a 10 times optical zoom, you can have a wide-angle lens, but all of the Oppo Renos, of course, have that pop-up camera on the top. I call it the peekaboo, or as you saw at the beginning of this video, it is the baby shark phone. At least I thought that was a pretty funny reference to make for this phone. But overall, it feels like a pretty nice device. It feels a lot like the Oppo Find X, which of course had its own pop-up camera. It's just a little bit bigger with a 6.4 or 6.6 inch display, depending on the version you get once again. That motorized front-facing camera also hides the earpiece, and that earpiece kind of emanates from a tiny little slit that's at the very top. So it's not like you're going to lose out on a call speaker when you're not using the camera or when that flap is not up. Finally made it down to the city center-ish. We're right outside of Zurich HB, the Hauptbahnhof, and we're taking a few pictures next to this body of water here is lake. I want to say it's a river maybe, but we have some shots here that we can use the 10x zoom on, and that's really the crux of this whole Oppo Reno, this 10x zoom version. You have a wide-angle lens, you have a telephoto lens, that's the periscope one that allows for up to 6x optical zoom and then 10x hybrid zoom. So you can get pretty far with your zoom, and it's something that we wanted to test out with the Zurich, with the mountains around this area. I mean, after all, we're in Switzerland, but unfortunately they're a little bit far away, so we have to make do with the architecture around us. One thing that I feel is easy to forget about this phone, after all, you have that motorized camera, you have all of the lenses on the rear, all of the capabilities, and the camera app, it allows for a number of different modes, including slow-mo capture. So there are a lot of options, so you can really have some fun with the cameras here. But one of the lenses, actually the main lens, is the new Sony IMX 48 megapixel sensor. So I did take a few 48 megapixel shots so you can see some of the greater detail you can get in there. But yeah, it's actually easy to forget about it because you have to go way into the settings to actually activate it. But there's this tiny little nub here on the back center where you would normally find the fingerprint sensor. The fingerprint sensor is in the display, and it's a good working one so far. I've only been able to use it for a little bit, but it's still reliable to get into the operating system. But in place of where that fingerprint reader would be on the back is this little nub, and for a while I just kept like picking at it, to be honest. It kind of creates some separation between the table that it might be resting on and the cameras. Making our way back to where the venue is going to be, to our hotel and then to the venue. Right now, the main takeaways are that there are a lot of things that this phone is doing right. You know, very low screen-to-body ratio, very small bezels. So the phone itself is beautiful, no camera hump.
It feels premium.
Yes, it does feel very premium. And, oh, by the way, Isa Rodriguez from... The thing is, and this is something we're going to have to see if it's fixed in the final review units, there are not that many options. You can't use all of the lenses for all of the modes. It's a little bit of a bummer. So being able to use the zoom or the wide angle for video, for example, that would be a great addition. But again, that has to do with hopefully software updates coming in the future. So we'll see where that goes once we get our hands on a review unit. But for now, we're going to go ahead and call it on this kind of a new type of way for me to do these hands-on videos. I figured since I have the phone on me right now and the both of us were able to take a bunch of pictures and photos with it, I might as well do something like on the fly. So let me know what you thought of this format of the hands-on video on location here at the launch in Zurich. Peekaboo or Baby Shark?
What do you mean?
Like what's a better title?
Well, Baby Shark has been stuck in my head ever since they called it the Shark's Fin.
Well then, Baby Shark it is. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.